Jim Ryan's recent comments, there are a lot of people talking about the future of PlayStation and has he confirmed Phil Spencer and Microsoft's strategy? And I think that there's a gaggle of people out there that are strangely attracted to CEOs or people in charge of video game companies, and they need the validation of strategies. And I'm here to tell you that one strategy may work for one company, but that does not mean that that strategy is the winning strategy for an entire industry. They do not have to adopt it, and they will not adopt Microsoft's strategy of Game Pass, of day and date. It may work for Microsoft. The data is still out. We don't know. 10 years from now, there may not be a Game Pass, there may not be an Xbox, or it may be successful for Microsoft to carve out a niche in the industry for themselves. What PlayStation has been doing and probably will continue to do is to create great content that speaks to a larger audience than Microsoft's content does, release it on a platform like a PlayStation, sell it for a year, 18 months, and then roll it into a subscription service, double dip, if you will. However, I love the fact that both of these strategies can exist and that people argue back and forth about which one must be adopted. But in the face of both of these strategies, here's the one strategy that's winning. And it isn't the strategy that's the old strategy where you make a console, you release games for that console, and that's it. It's not that Nintendo is following this old strategy. It's that is who they are. They release a toy. They're a toy company. They make a toy for you to play with. Then they make other toys for you to play with. If other people would like to make toys every once in a while, sure, third parties jump on board and find success. But there's a reason why third parties never release their games close to the release of Nintendo first-party titles because they just cannot compete. And this has happened throughout every generation. I am old. I've lived through multiple generations, and it continually recycles itself when it comes to Nintendo. And the reason is because they're not chasing a trend. They're not falling in line with the current strategy that seems to be successful for one company or even two companies. They've created a space for themselves. They're the only company that's opening up a theme park in Disneyland. That's because they have IPs that are globally successful without a streaming service, without a day and date subscription model, without going to PC. The reason is because they're a toy company at heart, and they release toys. I keep saying it because I've lived through it. I've watched them do this over and over and over again. So if you're a console traditionalist, whatever that means, and you don't like the idea of a company putting their games everywhere, you feel like maybe that's diluting the brand. Well, there aren't many brands that are as large as Nintendo. I don't think PlayStation's worried about diluting the PlayStation brand when it comes to putting first-party games a year after they launch on the PC or maybe in a subscription service. And certainly Microsoft needed to do something to get their games or games in general to sell on their platform because they just weren't making good enough games to sell on their own. Now they have Game Pass. Maybe the content they create in the future from a first-party standpoint will be good. Either way, it's going day and date into a subscription service. It's going to PC. PlayStation may follow that, probably not. But I love the fact that Nintendo continues to buck these trends, and people scratch their head and they say to themselves, well, it's Nintendo. They're outside the realm of, being discussed in the same sentences as PlayStation or Xbox when it comes to strategies. Listen, PlayStation and Xbox wish that they had the global success when it comes to IPs that Nintendo has. They're not opening up a theme park in Disneyland for God of War, for Kratos, for Nathan Drake. They're not opening it up for Jak and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank. They certainly aren't doing anything with Master Chief. I don't know what else Microsoft would use, but you see the problem. Making toys and then selling them is what Nintendo's about. Think about Labo. Everyone laughed at it, right? Wasn't very successful. They're selling cardboard. If for no other reason, this should clue you in to what Nintendo is about. This is how they think when it comes to products in the video game space. They're creating toys. They're creating a console, and then they create other things for you to purchase and play with. They want you in their world. They want you to go to the park that they own. They want you to play on the swing set and go down the slide that they created in their park. If the video game industry was a city, the earth that the city was built on, that's Nintendo, and it's never going to change. So their strategy is one that's timeless. 20 years from now, there'll be a Nintendo console and Nintendo toys and Nintendo games. 20 years from now, there may be a next PlayStation. There may not be a next Xbox. But I love the fact that they continually do this, and people continually scratch their head and try and figure out ways to downplay it or to degrade it or to say that, well, it's going to change eventually. They're going to have to do what my favorite company is doing. And I'm here to tell you, I know there's a bunch of you out there that can't wait to comment in the comment section from the ages of 18 all the way up to 20-something telling me how wrong I am. But trust me, get a little bit more mileage on your bones, you'll realize that when you're an old man, you'll probably be buying a Nintendo console and playing Nintendo games and plugging some weird stick into some holographic TV to stream everyone else's content. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Think about sharing this video out on your favorite social media platform of choice. Maybe subscribe to the channel. At the very least, hit the like button. It helps me grow the channel. I love all the different strategies, but I love coming home to Nintendo. Thanks for watching.